Hello, wannabes and creators, and welcome back to The Business of Art, the podcast that demystifies business for artists. And today, I have another live presentation that I recorded at Ontario California Comic Expo a couple of weeks ago. It's been a while since I did a live episode, but I really liked this one. It's all about how to build a rabid fan base, and I think it's something that we can all use, so I'm doing it. And you're going to get it right into your ear holes. Before I do, I want to remind you that my new graphic novel, Pixie Dust, is on Kickstarter now. My graphic novels fund everything that I do, including this podcast. So if you like this podcast, maybe go over to pixiedustcomic.com and check it out. I think you'll love the comic. If not, maybe at least get the PDF to support this podcast. I don't know. Do whatever you want. Buying my stuff is never a contingency of me liking you, but man, it sure helps me want to continue making this show. So head on over to Pixie Dust Comic now and check it out. Or head on over to your Kickstarter app or the website and look up Pixie Dust. All right, let's get on with the show. Take it away, me. Tell us how to build a rabid fan base. Are we ready to go?
Yeah.
Can I go?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we are going to talk about building rabid fan base. Is that cool? Mm-hmm. Everyone wants more fans, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do is dispel a couple of myths for you. I'm going to dispel 3 myths for you. The first is that, oh my God, I forgot the 3 myths. Well, one is that rejection is failure. The second is that money is bad. And the third is that selling is gross. All right? So everyone usually harbors one of those myths in their head. If you do, you don't have to say it out loud. You just like nod or blink or something so I know we're on the same page. Okay, so the first thing that I will say is that selling can be gross. Let's just spell this one at a time. So selling can be gross. Most people, when they think of selling, and when people come to their table, or when they come to their website, or when they meet you, people have a sales-first mentality. Does anyone know what a sales-first mentality is? That is when the first thing that you do is you say, cool, buy my thing. Hi, I'm Russell, buy my thing. Hi, go to a used car salesman is like the best example. Well, the first thing they say is like, hi, I'm Bob. Let me sell you this piece of junk car, right? Like, they all have that. It's kind of like the sleazy sales mentality. So the first thing that I will say is we need to switch that. So the way that we switch that is instead of being sales first, we need to be value first. So when you give value first, you are trying to improve people's lives. So for instance, I use myself as an example in all of this stuff. So like, I'm not doing this for my health. I have books. I have podcasts. I have like this new book about how to build your creative career, which all this stuff is in. My hope is that, like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, all of you will buy my book. That's cool. That'd be cool. However, it is not a requirement for you to be in this class or to talk with me. My goal is to give value to you. And in giving value to you, you will build an affinity to me over time or right now, and eventually you will want to buy my book because I speak in a way that connects with you. In a room of 5, 10 people, I can expect to connect with 1 or 2 people. When I do a panel, there's usually 30 people in a room, maybe about 5 or 6 people break out for each person, and they're like, oh, I really love what Madeline talked about, or how Madeline talked, who's very different than me. I really love how my friend Sherry talked, who's like very inspirational. Some people are like, I like practical advice, and for you to like be very like direct and like tell me exactly how it is, which is not like necessarily fun. It's not necessarily like rosy. It's not rosy. I'm not even saying not necessarily. Like, I will give you the straight truth, and you will leave probably feeling a little bit bummed out because there's a whole bunch of stuff. And some people like that. Not everybody. Some people do. And so my goal is to connect with those people, and those people generally will feel an affinity and will buy from me. But I never ask them to buy necessarily. I definitely don't ask them to buy until the end after I've provided value to them. My goal is value first. This is something that will set you apart. It's the easiest thing to do to set you apart. Honestly, if you stop asking for the sale immediately and start asking questions to people like, hey, what do you like? What are you in the mood for? So for instance, if you're selling prints and you say, hey, so what room in your house are you looking to have a print for? Oh, I'm looking for something in the living room. Okay, what kind of colors are in your living room? Like what kind of things are you, what's thematically the thing that you're looking for? You'll start getting people to open up about where they're looking, and then you can say, I have the perfect print that will go right there. And see, you're giving value first, you're making a connection first, and then, boom, you're trying to make a sale, but you're not going in to make a sale, you're going in to improve the person's life. Oftentimes when people come to my table, I talk about monsters. Most of you come to my table, and a lot of people say, I don't like monsters. I go, cool, what are you into? I'm into, I don't know, steampunk. Or I really need a print, or like I'm into kids' books, and I try and steer them in the right direction. Again, giving value to people first. It is the sneakiest way to make people really like you as a person, and to make people, even if they don't buy from you, so let's say they don't really like monsters, they might say, no, I don't like monsters, I kind of like your thing, but my friend Bob really loves monsters, I'm going to drag him over here. Again, I'm using myself as an example. You all have examples from your own thing. So that's number one. Does that make sense? Like, that kind of helps you not make selling gross, right? All right, so the second one is that rejection is failure. My favorite example for this is Stephen King. We all know Stephen King, right? He's a pretty famous writer. Sells about 1 to 2 million books on average, at least every time he sells a book. So let's call it 2 million books, which sounds great, right? Everyone kind of wants to sell 2 million books, would be amazing. Except when you start breaking the numbers down, it's a little bit less impressive, because Stephen King has been translated to just about every imaginable language, and there are about 2 billion people in this world. Which means he sells 2 billion literate people. So 2 billion people who could actually read. There's 7 billion people in this world. You take out babies and people that are probably illiterate people that can't read any language at all. There comes back to about 1 to 2 billion people. So at the high end, 2 billion people. He's selling 2 million books to 2 billion people. That means he's not selling to 999 out of 1,000 people. Sucks, right? Like anybody that says like 0.001% conversion rate is abysmal. But Stephen King doesn't think of it that way, right? Stephen King focuses on the 2 million people that want the thing that he says. So the easiest way to think about rejection is, I'm pretty sure I've seen every single person across my table before. One person in this room bought from me. Cool. 5 out of the 1,500 people that are at this thing now, 6 are here. I could focus on the fact that there are 6 people in this room, that there are 994 people out there, or I could focus on the 6 people that are here and deliver the maximum amount of value to you guys. And it will very much help your sense of rejection if you realize that for every 100 people you talk to, you'll connect with 6 or 4 or 5 or 1. But every time someone says no, it gets you closer to a yes. Does that make sense? All right, so I've successfully busted 2 of these myths. I hope one of them is yours, but the most important one is the one that most people that I know as artists talk about, which is that money is bad. It's gross. They don't care about money. Money isn't a thing that they care about. What they care about is making something cool. It's not, you don't have to blink or anything. Like, I know just from the makeup of this room, at least one person, probably 4 people, that is where they fall. They have an aversion to money, and asking for money, thinking that it's gross. So my response to this is that if we think, let's not think about money for a second. My question to you is, do you want more people to care about your work? If you want less people to care about your work, or you're happy with the amount of people that care about your work, raise your hand. Of course, no one is. Like, it doesn't matter if you're Stephen King. Like, everyone wants more people to care about their work, right? Everyone wants more people to talk about their work. Everyone wants more people to respect their work, right? Well, then I have good news for you. The good news is that like I don't think about money ever. My goal is to get more people to rave about my work, to be raving fans of mine, which is the point of this presentation, right? It's about building raving fans. So in order to build, I care about building raving fans who will talk about what I'm doing, love what I'm doing, and yes, they will buy the thing that I'm doing. They'll buy the thing that I'm doing because they love it. So to me, money is a byproduct of building a proper sales funnel and building more people who know, like, and trust me. So if you have a problem with money, or you think money is gross, or you don't care about it, you don't like asking for it, then the good news for you is you don't have to think about it. All you have to think about is more people that love my work will mean that more people will want to buy from it. And you will start seeing this as more people come into your ecosystem, that they will ask you to buy things. And you will start feeling like, well, I'm gonna make a product that's beautiful for them, and then they will want to buy it. Like, people live in a consumerist culture. They want to buy a thing, and who the heck are you to like not let them buy it? So that's why we make the biggest, best, most beautiful books. That's why we try and provide as much value as humanly possible. That's why we talk to everybody at every convention, do podcasts, and do all of this stuff to be out into the world. Because we want, at the end of the day, to build a successful sales funnel. Does anyone know what a sales funnel is here?
You talked about it a little bit when I was at
Yes.
idea.
So now that I've successfully, does everyone think I successfully busted those 3 myths, at least a little bit? Okay, cool. So the rest of this presentation is about building raving fans. I know you're like, what the fuck do those 3 things have to do with building raving fans? Promise you it's incredibly important, because raving fans are a function of getting people through your sales funnel. Now, everything is a funnel in life. If you go to the dentist, if you have a problem with your tooth, like you chipped your tooth, you're not calling one dentist, right? So that one dentist is probably not going to have an appointment. You're calling fucking every dentist, so that some of them will say, yes, I have availability. Some of them are saying, yes, I take your insurance. And then some of those people are saying, yes, I have an appointment. So you want to call 5, 10, 20 dentists so that you can find one human being who can actually see you immediately. If you don't do this, you should start doing it, because it's way easier if you need something fast to just call 10 of places, like the iPhone 7 or 8's coming out, whatever it is. If you call 30 different stores, you'll find one that carries the one you want. I own a Verizon dealership. I can tell you for sure. You may have to drive a little ways for it, but like someone will have the phone that you want. You don't have to stay online to pre-order it somewhere. Like there are places like Redlands, or like places out which like less people, they also get shipments of phones. You don't have to go to the one in downtown LA. So a sales funnel is an inverse triangle. Looks like this. Everyone knows what an inverse triangle looks like, right? Okay, so the goal of the sales funnel is people go in the top of it. So for most of you, you had no idea who I was when I walked into this room, or at least when I walked into the door this morning. A bunch of people went into that funnel. A bunch of people passed by my table. A bunch of people talked to me. A bunch of people just passed by and didn't even say a word to me. And then for that, all of those people now knew me though. And my goal now is to get them to like me, trust me, and then some of them will buy from me. So the function of a sales funnel is to put people at the top of it so that they trickle down and some of them buy. And this is the most important part of a sales funnel. You have to put a lot of people in the top of it. You've got to talk to a lot of people. You've got to be where they are. You've got to look them in the eye when you're there. You've got to go to a lot of different events. So you put a lot of people in the top so that some of them will trickle down to the bottom. not everybody will trickle down to the bottom. For instance, most people, I'm assuming, have launched a product, a pin or a print or something, right? Has anyone done that? All right, I know some of you have. It's okay, you don't have to raise your hands. Like, I know for a fact some of you have. I know for a fact some of you have. So everybody has some amount of Facebook friends, right? How many of that, did all of them buy your pin or your print when it came out? No, very few of them did, right? Like, for everybody that's in my Facebook fan universe, like a few of them buy. It just so happens that my universe is bigger than most people's universes. So more people are through it and willing to buy from me. So my goal is so some people will know me, and some of those people, if a lot of people know me, some of them will like me. Some of those people that like me will trust me. Some of those people that trust me will buy from me. I'm sorry, I'm going to say this again because, like, you've already heard it. You've already heard it. For instance, we all have that uncle that we know and can't stand. That cousin that we like but wouldn't trust anywhere near us. They're always getting into trouble. That friend that we trust, but we're not going to give money to because, like, every time you give them money for something, they bring back something that you don't like. Like, they go to get pizza, and, like, you say you want anchovies, and they bring back pepperoni, and you're like, I'm just going to stop giving you money. Or, like, you know that, like, they like horror movies, and you like romantic comedies, and you are, like, you're not going to give them money to get movie tickets because you know they're going to get tickets to it, and you don't want to see it. But then we also have that best friend who knows everything we like, has the same taste as us, and you don't have to ask. You're just gonna, if they're like, I need some money to do something cool, you're just gonna be like, how much? Like, here it is. Do a cool thing, like whatever. Like, you may never heard of the band that they like, that they're telling you to go see, or the movie that they're like, or the festival, or the con, but just by a factor of them giving you cool stuff and continually giving you cool stuff, you keep giving them money. And so your goal is to be that best friend to as many people as humanly possible. And now let's go back to a level to, like, the trust part. The friend who likes pepperoni pizza, like, he has other people that love pepperoni pizza and will easily give him $20 because, like, they are that best friend to him. So you will not make most people get to the bottom of that funnel. Does that make sense? So the only way to mitigate finding raving fans, at least at the beginning, is to put a lot of people on the top. So I sell a lot of books. I'm a very good salesperson. I cannot force anybody here to like monsters. If you don't like monsters, if you don't like blasphemous stuff, if you don't like mythology or psychological monsters or anthologies, there's literally nothing I can do to sell you a book. I might be able to sell you a book for somebody else. I could drop this book to $1. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You just won't buy it because you don't care about that thing. I have so many people that know, like, and trust me. They don't buy a book from me because they don't like monsters. They don't like violent stuff. Some of them maybe have bought my nonfiction book, but they are just not in a place where they're going to buy that thing from me. Does that make sense? So your goal is to get as many people to know, like, and trust you so that some will buy from you. Now, again, to this trust part. Getting someone to know, like, and trust you is no, like, trivial matter. If you can get someone to at least get to the trust point, even if they're not willing to buy from you, they will know you make good products. They will know the kind of thing you make. They will know that even if it's not for them, it's good. And they will be willing to vouch for you to somebody else who might like that thing. So I got an email this morning from somebody that read all of my books. And they're like, I don't do zombies, but my Sun has zombie everything. It's like, I'm going to tell, like, these books are not really for me. They were well made, though. I enjoyed them more than I thought. But I know these 4 people who are going to love your thing. So the best, obviously, is to get someone to get down to your bottom of your funnel. But even if you can get them to the trust part, and so the trust part is equally important, and let's talk about that now. So when I meet somebody, when they come to, so the next part, or the most important part, getting people into your funnel is easy. It should be easy. If you're an artist, you can do cross promos, you can do giveaways at shows, you can do group bundle promotions, all sorts of things you can do to get people into your funnel. But optimizing your funnel is a different thing. And when I say optimizing it, I mean nurturing somebody through the funnel so they know, like, and trust you. So I've gone to so many shows and seen people get thousands of people on their email list just by like doing some big giveaway, but they don't know what to do with it, and those people don't buy. They never send emails. They never do anything with those people on their email list or on their social media. So having thousands of people on your email list is great, but what you want is to make sure you're nurturing them through your funnel so they can move from knowing who you are to liking you, to trusting you, to maybe buying from you. So when somebody comes to our table, they sign up for a mailing list. We send them an email with 8 books in it. These 4 first issues of our comic, the first chapter of Sell Your Soul, an entire novel, and a couple of other things. Like the new things that we're promoting during that time or coming out with, we send the first chapter. I have a book called Pixie Dust, which is coming out on Kickstarter on Tuesday. So they get the first chapter of that. They get 8 total books. Now that's a lot of books to get at one time. 8 prints, whatever you're going to give them. I do that because I want them to know if they don't like anything in that list, they're just in the wrong place. Like if you don't like any of 8, if I send you 8 things and you read them all and you're like, you're just in there, like, go away. Unsubscribe now, that's cool. But if you like 1 or 2 or 3 of those things, like now you like me as a person, you move down that ladder. And then it's about giving them consistent content. So as we talked about, like there's 3 ways, we didn't talk about this, but I know you were talking about a blog. So there's 3 ways to give consistent content. There's a blog, a podcast, and a video. Basically an audio blog, video blog, or a blog. And your goal is, or recipe something, you want to give them something consistently. I send a weekly email that basically talks about all of the free promos that I'm in. So I do book funnel and Insta Freebie. Every week I'm in like 4 or 6 free promos, and they can get hundreds of books for free. So I send them out every week in like an email that say, hey, here's all the free books for this week. Go and get hundreds of free books. I also do a podcast, which this episode will be on. And I go to shows. I do a lot of things consistently so that people can keep getting an email in their inbox from me. You don't have to open that email. Opening it is nice, but most importantly is that you consistently get reminded of somebody. Because what ends up happening is that people are in this panel and they get a lot of value for it, hopefully, and then they go away and they forget who you are. And that's going to happen because there's 1,000 people out there. Then there's sensory overload from movies and TV and books, and every thing over here is giving you free things and free movies and comic books and everything. It's overwhelming. And in order to break through that, you have to continue. You have to be consistent over and over and over and over again. I have people that don't open my emails, but when I say, hey, do you still want to get emails from me? They say, yes, I do I want to keep getting them. I like them in my inbox so that I know you're alive, but I don't open them. And I have people like that too. There are certain marketers and certain people that I'm like, I'm not going to open your email every time, but like I like that it exists. And because of that, over weeks and months and years of delivering valuable, consistent content to them, they get an affinity to you. Maybe they hear my voice on my podcast. Maybe they got a bunch of free books from me. Maybe they just see Russell as the from every week for 6 months. And then I have people come back to me at shows or when I do a Kickstarter who I haven't heard from in a year and go, oh yeah, I saw your thing and I want to make sure I came and saw you and bought your books. People never bought my books before, ever. And that is because most people will not buy the first time they see you. So you have to have a strategy for capturing them the next time you have a launch. And this is true for every single person in this room, in your own lives too. There's very rarely where you will find something immediately the first time. And you'll be like, I'm buying it right now. It might happen, but usually what happens is you'll see it, be like, oh, Quip, this toothbrush, I get it. Like it's a toothbrush that like is better than other toothbrushes. Then you hear like a bunch of podcasts talking about it, and you're like, stupid. And then other people are talking about it, and finally you're like, okay, I need a new toothbrush. Can I get this stupid Quip thing even though it's $25? Because I've heard about it for a long time. You have been consistent with it, and you've made it up to the level of me being ready to buy. Especially when you come to a convention, there are so many things to buy. Most people are coming with an agenda of what to buy. And if you best case scenario are going to get on that agenda the first time they see you. But every time you see them, you're going to get higher and higher and higher on that list of like what to buy until you're like in the top. And if you can get at the top and then keep giving them good stuff, you're going to keep being at the top. Does that make sense? This is why fan art is so easy to sell at a show, or so much easier than original art. Because oftentimes people come to a con saying, I want a cool Harley Quinn print. I want a cool Totoro print. Their brain is, I want this cool thing. They want a print, it's like Totoro. So if you have a print that's Totoro, you're going to move right up to the list because you were already here. But that doesn't endear you to the people that are buying from you. It doesn't, it endears you to, it helps Totoro. It's great. Totoro gets like some like free publicity. You made a little bit of money, but you're not making them buy your original print. You're not making them buy your Harley Quinn print or whatever other thing. So you have to find a way to capture them and move them through your funnel. Not Totoro's funnel, not Murakami's funnel, not Russell Nolte's funnel, your funnel, so that they associate you with something they want to buy. And that's how you build long-term fans, raving fans, enthusiastic fans, fans that will say, I don't even care what it is, I'm buying it. Which is something that is like still the best thing to me to hear. When people say, just take my money, I don't care, just take it. Because they're not stupid. These are not stupid people. These are people that I've fought to get money from, or fought to like build through my funnel for years, sometimes years to get through. Certainly months, and sometimes weeks, but oftentimes it's years. But once they make that and they buy again, and then they're like, okay, I like this, I'm going to buy another time, I'm going to buy another time, I'm going to buy another time. Eventually people go, well, I'm just going to buy blind. And we all have that too. We all have that in our lives where like, hey man, if Pixar makes a movie, I don't care how stupid it sounds, I'm going to buy a ticket to it. I'm just going to buy it. Like, I don't necessarily want to watch The Good Dinosaur. I didn't think it was a great Pixar movie, but it doesn't matter. Like, I'm going to watch it. And that's what you're looking for, and you get that by consistently delivering good stuff and consistently being at the top of people's minds. And if you can build that funnel with the understanding that you were going to get rejected by almost everybody. On a good day, 9% of people might buy from you that you meet. 9%. That means 91% of people will not buy from you the first time. And that's on a great day. You're usually lucky if 1 to 2% of people buy from you that first day. But the way that these people are incredibly successful at shows and online is that every time somebody buys, they make something and they buy again. So instead of starting from 0, the next time you release something, you've got 4 people, and then 8 people, and then 20 people, and then 1,000 people, and then 2,000 people. And you keep having people who are already willing to buy from you. They've made their way through that funnel. And now, is everyone with me so far? Is everyone like getting a lot out of this? I know it's a lot. It's like probably blows people's minds about this point where like I've hit sensory overload of what I can absorb. So I'm going to take a step back. Breathe. And I forgot my train of thought, which is why I'm breathing now. So in order to get that, when you have this audience at the bottom of your funnel, the biggest thing that happens the first time you release a product is you release a product and a bunch of people buy. Friends, family, people you haven't seen since childhood, they all buy your thing because you have this new novel thing. And you like sell, let's say 100 things. And then you're like, oh, this is great. The next time I sell a thing, I already have 100 people that are willing to buy. But what ends up happening is most of those people were buying from the novelty. And they all made their way through the funnel through decades of knowing you, liking you, and trusting you. So they are buying from you here. But then they flush out. And most of those people, and this happened to me also, it happens to everybody, most of those people don't come back and buy the next thing. They don't care. They're like, okay, oh, I got the book from my friend in high school. That was cool. I need to go back again. Like, I've done it. It's novel. It's on my shelf. It's cool. But some of those people, so then you don't fill that funnel at the top. So the next time, you don't have anybody at the bottom. And you're like, oh, this is the worst. I must be the most horrible human being in the entire world because, like, I must have missed the mark completely. Now I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stop. Because nobody's at the bottom here and nobody's buying and you don't know why. The truth is that if you're not constantly filling this up, this top of the funnel up and working and nurturing people to the bottom, not enough people, there's nobody here to buy. So what probably happened is you had these people flush out, right? But some more people came up to the top, but you're not doing anything to nurture them to the bottom of your funnel. You're not nurturing anybody down here. So there's nobody new. And the people here aren't coming back because, again, how you get success is people coming back and back and back and back and back over and over and over and over again. And you have a bigger and bigger base. So you have to think of yourself as, how do I keep putting people at the top of this funnel, new people, because most of them are going to flush out. Like, that's why it's a reverse triangle, because the bottom is really small and the top is really big. And there's one more thing, because I want to take questions too. Sorry, my dad's in the hospital, so like I just got some emails that he's doing okay. So, the last thing that I was going to say was something, and then I got a nice email, so like now I'm like totally lost again. So you need to make sure that you're consistently putting people at the top, working them through the bottom so that more people are willing to buy. But here's the secret of a show, since we're here. If you go through, there's roughly 5 people that you'll meet at a show. One person is immediately going to buy. They're just going to buy. They love monsters. They love the pitch. They read one page and they're like, I'm in. $30, whatever. One person is never going to buy. You could give them gold. You can give it to them for free. They just don't care. most people, and this happens online too, most people spend an inordinate amount of time talking to these two people. They're either trying to convince somebody to buy that is never going to buy, to which I say, cool. The good news is there's something for everybody at this show. I offer them my mailing list, then it's gone. Then I'm like, okay, cool. Somebody that buys, I'm like, awesome, you're amazing. Let's talk for a little bit. Then join my mailing list so we can talk later because I'm at a show, I'm trying to sell. Then they spend almost no time talking to these three people, which is the people that are on the fence. They don't talk, they don't try and convince. So they're over talking to the people that are already committed to buy. They're over talking to the people that are never going to buy. And they're almost doing nothing with someone who's like looking at, they're looking at the book, they're like, I don't know, they're listening to the pitch and going, They're doing almost nothing to convince them. But the thing is that those same 5 people are still going to come to your table either way. And if you can spend less time with this person especially, son of a bitch is not going to buy no matter what you do. Like, we are so, like, as artists, generally needy that we're like, no, my stuff's really good, it's amazing, oh, you should. And they're like, nah. And you're like, no, stay. And you're like, instead of just being like, okay, cool. There's something for everybody. Because, like, that person's not a bad person. They just don't care about the thing you're selling. And just like you don't care about everything that, like, I don't care about what most people are selling unless I know them personally. It's not my jam. My jam are big, beautiful hardcover books and weird novels. You can almost easily convince me to buy one of those as long as they're beautiful. It's hard to convince me to buy anything else. Maybe sometimes pins, maybe a gift, almost never children's books, but sometimes. So, like, put me on a mailing list or do whatever, but then, like, get me away. Because the real value is in sitting and talking to someone who's on the fence. They're kind of into comics, or they're into comics, maybe not apocalypse books, maybe like tone. So, like, you have to make a decision. And these are the people that can make or break a convention or anything for you. You're going to talk to these same 5 people anyway. If you can get 2 or 3 or 4 of these people instead of one person, you're always going to get one. Any shithead can get one person of the 5. As long as you're talking to them. Like, most people sit down and they're like this and they don't talk. So, like, that's not like. But if you get 5, if you can instead of going from one person to 2 people or 3 people, you're probably not going to get 4. Like, you got to be on your game 100% to get 4, but, like, it's not unreasonable to double your sales. It literally immediately doubles your sales, right? You don't have to talk to anybody else. You have to make any other prints, to do anything. All you have to do is convince someone that's on the fence to move over to yes. And the better you get at this, the more money you will make. Because it's the same effort. You're putting in the same 8-hour day. The same thing is true if you can get somebody instead of to buy from you in 2 weeks instead of 4 weeks. If you have to make 100 sales in a month and you make 1 sale, well, you can do a couple of things. You can double the people going into your pipeline. That usually costs more money because you have to go to another convention. You can half the time it takes somebody to go through. So if it takes them 4 weeks and you can get them to 2 weeks, you've now doubled your sales, right? You can get them to buy more. So you can get them to, instead of spending $10, to spend $20, you've doubled your sales. So it's not just about putting people in the top of your funnel. This is the easiest part because it means going to bigger shows or going to other shows or doing some other thing. So it's very easy to wrap your brain around seeing more people. But if you don't want to do that, maybe you don't want to do 4 shows a month. I burn out on 4 shows a month. It's very tiring. Maybe you don't want to spend $1,000 on ads. You can do that by continuing to nurture people inside of your funnel. It's called funnel optimization. And nurturing these people. Maybe you offer them double products. Like maybe you're doing 2 prints in a month. Maybe you're doing a special offer to get more people to buy. There are all sorts of things you can do inside. But you can't do those things if you don't have a bell curve. Everyone know what that is? All right. So a bell curve is, I have a degree in demographic sociology along with journalism. So we did a lot of surveying when I was in college. And in surveys, you have to have, in order to estimate a population appropriately, you know when you listen to the news and they say, we did a survey of 1,000 people, and you're like, how the hell can that, like there's 300 million people in this country, how can you estimate that on 1,000 people? It's because they've had enough data to estimate a population appropriately. But if you don't put enough data into the top, you don't put enough data, let's say you get 100 people instead of 1,000, your bell curve it's not a bell curve. It's wonky, it's everywhere, it could do anything. It is not consistent. So the first step is making sure enough people go into the top that you can consistently make sales. If that's 100, you have to get 100. If it's 50, you have to get 50. You can't do anything else until enough people go into your funnel so that enough people get to the bottom. Does that make sense? Once you have that, then you can play with all of the things inside. What ends up happening is people don't put enough people at the top of their funnel. So they don't get enough people at the bottom. So if you need 100 people to make a sale, getting 50 people does not lead to half a sale. Or sorry, let's say 100 people till you get to 2 sales. 50 people does not equal 1 sale, because you might have all of the sales come in the first 10 people or the last 10 people. And every time it's going to be different. All you know is that if you talk to 100 people, you will make X sales. I like the number 100 because it seems to be consistent for me. If I talk to 100 people, I'll make about 5 to 6 sales somewhere consistently. So if I want more people, and I can play with that. It's like next show I want to get 10 people of every 100 I talk to. So you can play with it because you know the consistent number. But if you don't talk to enough people to have a bell curve, you will never be able to properly estimate this stuff. Does that all make sense? All right, I'm trying to properly explain these concepts, which I know are incredibly boring business concepts, and make them at least semi-interesting to make you more money or at least more fandom. Because this is what it really is about, building fandom. It is about putting enough people at the top to trickle down, so that enough people trickle down to the bottom. And then doing that enough times that people are raving about your work. And the more times you do something beautiful that they love, the more they will want to buy from you the next time, and the higher you will start every time you release a product. But if you're not so if you're at a show, you should be signing everyone you can up for a mailing list, or at least a Twitter follow or something. When you come to my table, you get 8 free books for signing up for my mailing list. If I can't convince you to sign up for my mailing list with 8 free books, this is the other thing. If I give you 1, I can be like, no, I don't give a shit about 1 free book, like whatever. Like I'm not gonna give you but if I'm like, hey, I'm gonna give you 8 free books, including 1 entire novel, and you don't care about that, like you're never gonna buy from me. Or maybe you won't. Maybe there's no way you'll buy. You're in the right mindset to be in my funnel now. Maybe in 3 months you'll be like, I can't believe I didn't do this last time. I don't know. So part of it is like the more people, I can't say this enough. I know I'm saying it a lot, but it'll sink in for one person of you. If you put enough people in the top, there will be people that consistently come out the bottom. And that is it is not rocket science. This is not complicated. Some of the dumbest people I know are the best business people because they make it simple. Like I have a pretty simple process. I say, do you like monsters? Yes. Here's the thing. It's all about monsters. You like it? Cool. You want to buy it? How much is it? Here's the price. I don't know about today. Cool. Why don't you sign up for my mailing list and get a bunch of things? The next time I see you, maybe you'll buy. It's like not a complicated, it is hard. It is hard to talk to a lot of people. It is hard to do this boring stuff, which I admit is very boring. But every time I do it, every time I'm like, oh, this is so boring, I'm like, it's going to lead to sales. It's going to lead to more people endorsing it. And I have lists, I have folders full of people that like rave about my books. They're like, I can't believe this book is so beautiful and it's amazing and I love Russell, and like notes from people, emails from people saying how much they like my books, and I'm like, all of this other stuff is just like the way to get that. The quickest way to get that, where people are like, just take my money, whatever. Like, I know it's going to be cool. The quickest way to get people to be like, I love this book, is if you get enough people to fill your funnel. And I will say this, the more people you get, the more response you get. We used to add about 100 to 200 people a month. Now we've added 2,000 people in the past 2 months. And I can tell you the response is 10 times better. We had 600 people for this anthology on Kickstarter, pre-order it. Previously, we've only sent 150 books. I'll tell you 4 times, more like 10 times the amount of people responded ravingly to this book than any other book I had combined. Because there were more people. There were more people, and I'm better at nurturing them now than I was. I'm better at showing them what I'm about. I'm about this stuff. I talk in this way. If you like this kind of stuff and you like how I talk, you'll probably like my books. Like, it's pretty much me in book form. Probably like it. I don't know. They're pretty good. You also end up having this like kind of objective measure. The more people you can put through the funnel and the more people that rave about your books, you're like, pretty fucking good. May not be the best writer of all time, but like, pretty good. Like, a bunch of people buy my books. I don't care if you don't like them. If you like these things, I'm pretty confident if you read my book, you'll like it. If you don't, that's cool. There's a ton of other people out there. And one of the things that is so hard for us as artists, creatives, is like having confidence in our work, right? And I will tell you, when you're selling thousands of copies of books, pretty fucking confident in your work. You're pretty confident. Like, it breeds confidence. Confidence breeds confidence. When people say they like your work and they buy, and you're like, oh, this is money. You're giving me money for a thing? You feel pretty good. It's not because you're being cocky. It's because you're like, well, I like all of the people that are buying my work. They are competent human beings. They are intelligent because they're readers. So like, they're intelligent on some level. Like, they aren't idiots. Like, and they are buying my book and saying it's good. So like, they're not regretting their decision. So kind of objectively, pretty good. And then you can start focusing on those people. Once you have this audience, you have the raving fans who really like your stuff, and it's important to not get like overly cocky, but you end up being able to say, hey, I made this monster book. Here's another thing I'm making. What do you think? And start surveying people and start asking their opinion. And instead of being like, I don't know what people want, I don't know what print I should make for this show, you can say, so you 5,000 people that are on my mailing list, like, I'm going to Anime Expo or Anime Los Angeles or LA Comic Con. I'm thinking about making these 3 prints. Which one would you buy? Or what's the number one thing that you're interested in? And you're like, well, cool. You bought these 4 prints for me, so pretty good chance that like you're going to buy this one, and this is what most people who like what I do like. So you're going in there, you're not always going to hit a home run. Even now, like, I don't hit a home run. Like, this book, as much as I love it, Spaceship Broken, makes no sales. It's great. But it's not a monster book. It's not full of action or, like, women, like, kicking ass or, like, comics. It's, like, a weird book about, like, broken families and like, suicide and abuse. So it sold, like, 20 copies. It sold so few, I have to give it away. People that read it now like it. But like, it doesn't, so like, whereas opposed to these 2 monster books, monster book, now I have this other monster anthology, and I was able to say, it's my most successful book ever. It, like, in Kickstarter, sold more than all of my other books combined. Because I went to my audience who already had bought books from me and said, what do you want? What kind of artist do you want to see inside of it? And then I just did that. I said, hey, remember when you wanted that monster anthology and like you like Katrina Kuntzman and like Aaron Alexovich and like Mike Tanner and you like all these people? Well, cool, I made this thing that you said you wanted. Now go buy now it is available for sale. And people were like, well, I told you I wanted it. It's like, it's not science. It's not rocket science. It's taking a client, it's not getting customers and then asking them what they want, and then making that thing, and then continuing to do that over and over and over again. As more and more people enter your ecosystem, which is how you get, did I answer the question of this panel? I feel like I ranted for like an hour. Have I given you a pretty decent understanding of how to build raving fans?
Yes.
Cool. I got some people excited about building a sales funnel. Cool, because like this is the boring stuff. This is the boring stuff that allows you to make a living as a creative. It's incredibly boring. I get it. I do not like being on lecture after lecture after lecture that I'm on every week about like building Facebook ads and making them work and doing all this stuff. But it allows me to eat. It allows me to not have a job. It allows me to do this full time, not taking any freelance work except making things my audience wants. To never even having to look for like freelance work, because I give people what they want. So for instance, this book, Sell Your Soul, is basically a guide for how to build your audience, how to like sell at conventions, how to launch products, how to build a sales funnel, how to make better products. It is literally born out of hundreds of conversations with people that I talk to at shows and people I talk to at like on my podcast, people that listen to my podcast. And I basically took all of their best questions or all the questions that were consistent and I put them in an answer form in a book. So here's the guide that you guys have been asking me for years. So when people liked it, I was like, not surprised. Not because I'm cocky, but because, of course, like, you told me what you wanted. You told me what your hardest questions were. You told me what the thing you wanted was, and I made it. So I would be really shocked if you didn't like it, because it's what hundreds of people asked for. And then as more people come in, more people ask questions, and now I'm able to say, cool, so all you guys, at the very least, I don't care if you buy my monster book, you should at least buy this book, because it's $5 on Amazon. Go sellyoursoul.com, it'll answer your questions. And I can say that because it has answered hundreds of people's questions before. So not only do you have this thing where we were 5 minutes late starting, so we're going to be 5 minutes late ending. Cool? All right, so not only do I have this thing that everybody in my audience wanted, but now anybody else who I meet for the rest of my life, I can say, oh, you have questions about this? Well, here's this thing that was basically crowdsourced. Do you want to know the easiest way to make money as an artist, as a print artist? It's really easy. It'll like blow your fucking mind when I say it. I have a friend, I won't say my friend's name, who every week, I think it's like Tuesdays at 4, she does an Instagram live where she live draws something with her audience. And she crowdsources it on the Instagram live. She auctions off the print, the original, on Instagram to the people that are watching. She takes pre-orders for like half price on the Instagram live. And by the end of it, let's say they'd make a Joker print. She has crowdsourced the colors, the pose, the extra characters. She has made like $80 to $100 on the print itself. She's sold the original. I'm not saying it's every time, but generally, like, and as more people know about it, more people show up to these every time making the prints. And then she takes those things and she brings them to shows. And you know the shocking thing? She fucking sells them. Because of course she does. They are literally crowdsourced from her audience. Her audience that already likes her stuff is telling her what to make. And so when people connect with it at a show, of course they do. Like, of course they do. Because it's not because she's cocky. It's not because she's like, it's not because she's magic. It's because she literally asked them. And now she's got tens of thousands of people that listen to her Twitch stream and do all this stuff, telling her what they want. So every time she does a print, it's as or more successful than the previous one. And if people don't respond to it, she doesn't make that print. Like if she does an Instagram live and she doesn't get X amount of sales, she just doesn't make that print. She's like, okay, well, I'll make this run for you guys, but bad print. Over and over and over again. The bigger audience you have, the more people that are raving fans, the more people that will show up to these things, and the more people you'll be able to crowdsource books or prints or pins or all of this stuff. Cool? All right, we have 5 minutes. So 1 question, 2 questions maybe. Anybody? I like that's too much, right? That's sensory overload. Yeah.
How can I add more people to the funnel if it's only if you're trying to only do it on the, like with YouTube?
With YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've made my career on cross promotion. My like entire career on like finding people that are either above me or at the same level of me, and doing cross promotions, backer swaps, newsletter swaps, having them on my show, like having them introduce me to my audience and me introduce you to.
Yeah.
Yes. So the quickest answer and the easiest answer is to run ads. That is also the most expensive answer. But like when you put money into something, you're going to get more results. The cheapest answer is you take your audience and you try and find people that are in your niche, who are at your level or above your level, and then you're willing to do more work. So let's say you have 1,000 people listen to every show, and you want someone that has 10,000. You can either pay them a little bit of money to promote, that is very common, or you can do a cross promotion where you do most of the work. Let's say you want to do like a giveaway. You say, I'm running a giveaway. I'm going to do all the work. All you got to do is introduce you to a friend, to your audience. And you can do that 10, 15, 20 times. You can use you can use BuzzSumo, Rafflecopter, Gleam, and you can just continually have all of these people in your audience cross promote, like do a group promo. Which is how I get like 1,000 people on my mailing list a month now. It's because like I do group promos with like sci-fi and fantasy authors. I join like big 60, 80 person groups. And I know that most of those people are probably not going to become fans of mine, but it doesn't matter because there's so many people, and I know I'm the best nurturer. I know that I'm the most personable person in that promo. I know that I send the most emails. I know that I provide the most value. So if they're getting 80 emails, which they won't because most people don't do anything with their email list, they're going to, like the most people are going to make it to the bottom of my funnel quickest. So if they send if someone waits to the, like if you're doing a promo and everyone waits to the end or 2 weeks after the end, and I send it the day they sign up, by the time they even send their first email, I've sent 4. So I'm just doing more work nurturing the audience. So the best, easiest way, and you can do this, I actually do this with giveaways at my table, at bigger shows especially, where like I'll go around to 4 artists who are good bestsellers in the like I know that they just destroy sales at the show. And I say, what's your best-selling print? I'm going to take 3 copies, or however many I'm going to take 3 copies of that, and like I go around to like 4 artists, and by the time 4 artists who already kill it at the show are like in a giveaway with me that I'm promoting, they've told me what their best-selling item is. Like they've all told me what the best-selling item of that show is, and now everybody that comes and says that looks cool, be like, yeah, you can win it. It's free to sign up. It's like all of these things are like you're using other people's authority. I can't overstress how important this is. You use other people's authority to get the right people to join your list. So, and this happens even if you're on Amazon. You're using Amazon's 150 reviews of your book to get other people. If you're in Vogue, you're using Vogue to get the right people in your ecosystem. So all of these people you're getting in your ecosystem, and you are finding people on Instagram or on YouTube that are already in the niche, and you're emailing a lot. You're emailing hundreds of people, because we all know everything's a funnel now, right? And like of those 100 people, maybe 10 are going to say yes. And then if you get one person of that 100 to say yes, getting 4, 5, 6, 8 is so much easier, because you go, oh, Bob is in the promo. You want to join the promo too? And they're like, oh, Bob's in it? Cool. And like Susan's in it, and Kyle's in it, and all these people are in it. Yeah, I want to join. And suddenly you like are running this massive promo. And another way is to interview them when they're launching a book. So does everyone know what the easiest way to get someone on your show or on your blog is? Stalk when they're launching a product. Every single human being launches a product at least once a year, and during that launch, they always want to be on shows. They will cut the quality of the show that they're on by 100 times. They don't care. They just want to be on everything. So somebody that maybe wasn't on would never do your show, suddenly they're launching a product and they're like, well, I don't know, even if I make one sale, this hour might be worth it. So now you're like, instead of just associating it with their time, they're associating it with like, well, I could make a bunch of money if I give a lot of value on Russell's show or on your video show. Like if somebody emails me and says, I want you on my show, almost guaranteed I'll say yes, as long as they do it around a launch. Like I'm launching a Kickstarter. Like if somebody emailed me today and was like, I want you on my show, I'd be like, all right, I don't know, like whatever. I have to do an hour, then you are introducing me to your audience using your authority to like help me promote a thing that I'm launching. Yeah, of course I'm going to do that. Maybe I would never do it 3 months ago when I wasn't launching a product, but now. So if you're a book person, the easiest thing to do is like whenever Barnes & Noble or whatever, not Barnes & Noble, like Simon & Schuster go out and do their pre-order campaigns, they'll send an mailing list email out. Just find them all and be like, hey, you have a thing, right? Whenever it's Halloween, if you have like horror artists, boom, Halloween promotion. Like they want to release something in like around a thing. And usually, if you follow them on Instagram and Twitter and such, they'll tell you when things are going live. And then instead of it being about, hey, help me out, you're like, hey, if you ever want to be on my show and talk about this, I would love to have you. Does that make sense? Basically tricking everybody to like use their authority against you. But you're also helping, because like it does help them. Like even small shows do help people like introduce you to their audience. And sometimes very tiny audiences I get tons of sales from. And sometimes really big audiences, I don't do that well. It just depends on how that audience happens to be nurtured.
All right, so that was me talking all about how to build a rabid fan base. If you like that, head on over to Pixie Dust Comic and check out our new comic, Pixie Dust, about a pixie monster hunter that gets betrayed, murdered, sells her soul to the queen of the underworld, and comes back as a zombie to seek revenge on the people that killed her. And if you liked that, you should definitely buy my nonfiction book, Sell Your Soul, How to Build Your Creative Career, which discusses all sorts of stuff just like this one. You can get that at GoSellYourSoul.com or on Amazon. That's it, wannabes and creators. I will see you next time.